What is up, guys? So Sports back again with another video, and in today's video we're going to have my reaction towards the All-Star Game participants and discuss some players that I believe were snubbed. So just this past Thursday it was announced the reserves for both conferences for the All-Star Game, and if you didn't know, I'll just go over the full list so that you guys see who made it and who didn't potentially. So for the Eastern Conference, the starters are Trae Young, Kemba Walker, Pascal Siakam, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Joel Embiid. And then the reserves that have just been announced this past Thursday, as I said: Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, Chris Middleton, Domantas Sabonis, Ben Simmons, and Jason Tatum. Now for the Western Conference, the starters are James Harden, Luka Doncic, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. And the reserves are Rudy Gobert, Brandon Ingram, Nikola Jokic, Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, Chris Paul, and Russell Westbrook. So those are your players for the All-Star games. And so let's talk about it. So obviously a lot of people were upset because certain players didn't make it, and I'm not gonna say I was upset, but I can feel for some of these players. So let's go over some key snubs, some big snubs, but let's go over some players that other people were saying were snubs, but I believe they shouldn't have made it anyway. First player that I heard a lot of people say he was snubbed, blah, 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 was Karl Anthony Towns. Now, I understand Karl Anthony Towns is having an excellent season, but I believe Karl Anthony Towns, him has not won a basketball game since November. We are in February now. So that's crazy. The Timberwolves, they suck. He is averaging 27 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists on great efficiencies, but he did not deserve to be an All-Star this year. He's missed a ton of games. His team is horrible. There were just more deserving players, in my opinion. Now, another name that I heard out there was Tobias Harris. Did people actually believe Tobias Harris was supposed to be an All-Star? No. His stats, cool. 19 points, 6.7 rebounds, okay. Like, who are you putting him over? He's a forward, so he's going to have to replace a forward. You're putting him over Jason Tatum, who Jason Tatum has had a better season, and the Celtics have a better record? No. Are you putting him over Chris Middleton? No. Jimmy Butler? No. So I don't really know who you'd put him over. And then last player I'm going to discuss, Jaylen Brown. Now, we already talked about Jaylen Brown in my predictions video where I said it was either Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, but of course we know Jaylen Brown is listed as a guard. So backcourt man, Kyle Lowry, Ben Simmons, I don't think he's going to make it over one of those. And the Celtics were going to have 3 All-Stars. So it is what it is. Those are 3 guys that, they didn't make it. People said they were snubbed, but I just personally didn't believe they were. But now let's get into the big snubs. And there were there were 2 huge snubs. Huge snubs. So we'll go over the one in the Western Conference. Obviously, you guys know Devin Booker, man. I wasn't upset, but man, Devin Booker 100% should have made it. On this season, he's putting up 27 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists on 50% shooting from the field, 51% shooting, 37% shooting from 3, and 90% from the free throw line. It's appalling. It is a tragedy, a travesty. Is that the correct word to use? That he did not make it. You're talking about a guy, he's one of like 5 players, I believe, or one of 4 players to average 27 points and 6 assists on 50% shooting in a season, and he didn't make it. And I just love how the goalpost or the narrative is just always moved when it comes to these snubs. Now, of course, every year there's always going to be snubs, but I feel like he definitely should have made it. So one big reason as to why people are saying he didn't make it is, of course, the Suns. They aren't doing so good this year, but it's not like previous years where, okay, last year or the year before when he was putting up great numbers, yeah, okay, maybe he didn't deserve it because this team, they were bottom feeders. But now, as it stands right now, the Suns already have more wins this year than they do last year, and it's not like they're completely out of the playoff race. They're only 3.5 games back of the 8th seed, so they're in contention. They have a better record than the Pelicans, and Brandon Ingram made it. But of course, I'm not going to use Brandon Ingram as an example because Brandon Ingram was a front court player, Devin Booker is a backcourt player, so I can't really do that. But it just, you can't come over here and say, okay, his team is bad when Trae Young is a starter. Of course, Trae Young is having an amazing season, but so is Devin Booker. You can't come over here and say his team sucks when Brandon Ingram made it. And Devin Booker, I know I just said I'm not going to use the comparisons, but Devin Booker is having a better season than Brandon Ingram, and his team has more wins. I just feel like they have to change how it goes. I mean, these rules that you have in place, I can understand, you know, having position locks for the starters. But for the bench, I feel like it's supposed to be free game. Anybody can make it. You don't have to have a certain amount of front court players or a certain amount of backcourt players. It's the all-star game. We want to see the best players in the league compete against each other. We don't want to see, oh, this guy made it because his team has more wins. That's cool, but like, who cares about wins? It's the all-star game. Would you? I don't want to be disrespectful. I really don't want to be disrespectful because I feel like the guys who made it definitely deserved it. But at this point, would you rather see Devin Booker in an all-star game or Chris Paul? And be honest, Chris Paul is he's in Hall of Fame, one of the greatest point guards of all time. We know what he's done. But he's 34 at this point. He's nearing the end of his career. He has players on, though he is the initiator. He is the engine of that team. I get that. But he does have other players on his team, on the OKC Thunder, that are playing near or above his level. SGA, Dennis Schroeder, Danilo Gallinari are all giving great play for the Thunder, and then Steven Adams is holding it down in the paint. They have a great team, you know, so I do think he deserved it, but come on. The rules have to be changed, man. I feel like you have to get rid of positions. It's the all-star game. We want to see the best players compete. That's it. And the one player that I think he should have made it over for the Western Conference is Donovan Mitchell. I think wholeheartedly he definitely should have. His statistics are a lot better than Donovan Mitchell. He's averaging more points, more rebounds. I think barely less rebounds, actually. More assists, though, on a lot better efficiencies. But Donovan Mitchell has the benefit of playing on a much better team. The Jazz, without Donovan Mitchell, I believe the Jazz would still be a playoff team. You have Mike Conley, who, though he hasn't been playing well this year, I feel like the pairing of him and Donovan is messing it up. He needs the ball in his hands more to be effective. Rudy Gobert, Bojan is having a career year. You still have Joe Ingles, and you have the coaching of Quinn Snyder. I feel like that team would still be a playoff team without Donovan Mitchell. And if you replace Donovan Mitchell with Devin Booker on the Jazz may be better. In my opinion, it's bogus. It's bogus. I feel like he definitely should. Devin Booker definitely should have made it over Donovan Mitchell. In my honest opinion, that's just me. But yeah, that's enough with Devin Booker. I feel like he was snubbed. He was definitely snubbed. Looking over at the East, another player who was snubbed, Bradley Beal, man. Oh my goodness gracious, Bradley Beal was snubbed. I don't think he was snubbed more than Devin Booker, but you're talking about a guy who's putting up essentially 29 points, 6 assists on 45% shooting per game, and he didn't make it? How do you average nearly 30 points and not make the All-Star team? That is absurd. That's crazy to me. And you're looking at the guys who made it over him. Kyle Lowry. Okay, Kyle Lowry. It's really only Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry is great, but I feel like Bradley, he should have made it, and the conversation or the argument is the same. I understand the Raptors are a top team in the East, but Kyle Lowry, it's not like he's carrying this horrible team to the playoffs. You have Pascal Siakam, you have Norman Powell having a career year, Freddie VanVleet, you got Serge Ibaka, Marc Gasol, and then they have these other guys who are contributing in ways that nobody probably seen, like Chris Boucher, Terrence Davis, Mr. 98% shooting from the free throw line, Matt Thomas. They have all these guys who are contributing to their winnings. This year, Kyle Lowry's putting up 20.7 assists. That's great. But for one, his team is amazing. I feel like his team would be great without him. That's just my personal opinion. Okay? Kyle Lowry has missed games. I feel like Bradley Beal is more deserving. And, like, this is like, what are we doing here? What is the All-Star game? What is it? What is it? The All-Star game is when the best players in the league come together and compete against each other. Is that correct? It doesn't look like it, really. And the goalpost is just always moved. It's really annoying, bro. But yeah, Devin Booker was snubbed. Bradley Beal was snubbed. Also, you can talk about Zach LaVine. I mean, yeah, but I don't think he deserved it over Bradley Beal. my opinion. He is having a great season, 25 points, and the Bulls are still technically in playoff contention, but I don't know. But that's just my opinion. I feel like the All-Star game, the criteria just has to be changed. Get rid of the you have to have this many backcourt players and this that's stupid. And like vote in the best players. Okay, come on, bro. Because I understand there's gonna be teams that are out there and there's gonna be players that are putting up some stats, but they won't deserve it. Kyle Lowry, you put Kyle Lowry on the Wizards, nobody's even looking at him as a chance to make the All-Star team. But of course, his team is winning, so he's gonna have, you know, improved odds against the coaches. And maybe change that too. Coaches voting for it, maybe, I don't know. I don't know, but you're gonna have to change something. I feel like players get snubbed every year, of course, but man, to have two guys who are having historic years essentially not make it, that's questionable. That's questionable, man. But that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. Please like and sub and share for friends. Give me any other players who you guys think were snubbed. Off the top of my head, I don't really know anybody else. If you guys have any other players, we can talk about the Rising Stars game too. Colin Sexton, I believe, was snubbed over Tyler Hero, but I don't really want to get into all of that. Yeah. Again, I hope you guys did enjoy. Share with your friends if possible. We're on the road to 60 subs. And it's So Sports, and I'm out. Peace.